Hello friends, a very warm welcome to Coding Techniques again. I am back with another interesting video for you which you have already seen in the intro, so I'm not going to spend more time on explaining the things I'm going to build today. So without wasting any more time, let's get started with our bottom sheet, or some people call it pop-up model, or you can even call it bottom drawer. So let's get started with that. So this is the design which we are going to build, and now for that what I have done, well, this is actually, we can call it Instagram part 3 also, because I will be using again the Instagram clone application for that as the base project. So this is Instagram clone part 2 project which I have assembled out here in my application, and I'm going to use the same application for taking it one step ahead for our part 3. So out here, this is our Instagram part 2. So everything is working as same as earlier. Now out here, what am I going to do? I'll pass a click event to this menu button, and then we are going to work with our pop-up model, I would say, in that manner. And the most important thing I want to tell you before I jump into the main project and start building it up is that this video is requested by Masist Lalodia. So on his request I am building up this video, and this is very interesting topic, so I must appreciate Masist for asking me to build this up. So without wasting any more time, let's get started now. So out here, let's go to our profile HTML page at first. And out here, I'm going to pass a click event to my menu button. So let me pass the click event, and I'll call the options function. Now let's go to our TypeScript in order to work with that button. So I'll scroll down, and out here I'm going to have that function. So this is our function which we are going to use for designing the same. In order to build this design, we will be using a model for that. Now for doing that, I'll be creating a model at first. So I'll open another PowerShell, and out here I'm going to create a model. Well, there are two methods by which we can create that. The first one is that we can have a different module, and out there I can declare it up. Now what is the benefit of that? If I declare another model, say like a components one, and out in the component I am going to have this particular model. So this is not actually model, it's modal. Actually it is a component. I am going to declare a component out here. So if you are using this component in more than one place, then you should declare it into a components module, a separate module that we also called as shared module, which I have already explained in the previous lecture. I think in the food delivery application I have explained that up. But anyways, and the second method is, if I'm using it only for the profile page, then I'm going to declare this component within my profile page itself and going to use the profile page module.ts file for declaring that up. So out here I'm going to use only for the profile page. So I'm going to declare it in the profile page itself. So how am I going to do that? Let's check it out. Ionic G component, then within the pages folder I'm going to have the tabs folder, and within the tabs folder I have the profile page. Now within the profile page I am going to create a model whose name will be, let's call it option only, and hit enter. Now as you can see, our component is created within our profile page. You can see it out here, right? So out here, if you go to the HTML, you will see a p tag which is defined by default, and in the TypeScript there is nothing, just the normal one, right? So this is a component and we are going to work with that. But out here, can we use the Ionic components out here, or can we use the Ionic tags out here? Well, if you try to use, let's say, ion header, let me declare it up, ion header. Now you can see an error is popping up, and what it is saying is ion header is not a known element. And why it is saying that? Because we are not using the Ionic module. If we want to use the Ionic tags, we have to use the Ionic module. And for that, I have to declare it in the profile module. So if I declare it out here you can see we are using the Ionic module by default. So out here, if I use it, option component. That's the name of the class, and you can see suggestion is coming up. I will import it. Alright, now once that is imported, if you check it out here, the error is gone, right? And well, if I hover on it, it is still a component, it is showing up. So that's how the things actually work. Alright, now out here we can use all the Ionic tags along with the HTML tags also. Now what is the next step that I'm going to do? Let's go to our profile page TypeScript, and in here what am I going to do? At first I'm going to use I'm going to inject the model controller. For that, model ctrl model controller, that's what I'm going to use, and let's import it up. So now it is properly injected, and you can use private or public. If you are using it in your HTML, then you call it as public. Alright, once that is done, we are good to use it up. Now how to use that up? Let me show you. So in the functions that I have created, options 1, out here I am going to create a constant called model, which will be initialized to await this dot model ctrl dot create, and we are going to pass few options. Now in order to use await, I have to pass async out here, and for the options I'm going to create this constant called options, where we are going to pass few options which will be used in our model. Now I'll show you how that can be used, but before that let me pass await model dot present. So our model will be presented out here in this manner. Now as you can see, there is an error. Why it is that? Because we cannot pass an empty object out here. So out here let me pass few options, and what those options are going to be. At first we will have the component. Out here I'm going to pass the component name, which is option component, and we will import it up. If you scroll up, you will see that it is imported, right? Now after that, what am I going to do? I will have a CSS class. We can pass a CSS class to that. Right now I'll keep it as empty. I'm not going to pass anything as of now. I'll show you what I'm going to do. And the next thing that I'm going to pass is the swipe to close. And what is this property going to do? Let me set it to true. Well, this is mainly for, let me pass it out here. This is mainly for iOS only, because whenever we are swiping from top to bottom, it's going to close the model. So that only works for iOS. That is why I'm keeping it to true. Now out here there are few more properties. If you go to the official documentation, you will get it out there. Now one more property is out here which we are not going to use right now, but it is very handy. I would like to inform you regarding that. That is component props. Component props. Now out here what you can do, if you want to pass any data to that particular model, then you can simply pass it out here by putting it into an object. Say like profile. If you want to pass the profile data, this dot profile, you can just send it directly from here itself. And out there in the model, you can use the input decorator to call that up. So that means out here, if I'm passing profile, out there you have to use @input function, and then you have to pass this profile. In that manner you can access it up. Anyways, we are not using that. Now let's check this out, whether this works or not. So now if I click on this button, let's see what happens. You can see something is coming up and it is blank because we do not have anything in our option component HTML. It is blank out here, right? That is why it is showing as blank. Now if we provide something out here, it will show directly out here. So we'll do that right now, but this is working. Now this is not exactly what we want. We want this kind of a design. So let's achieve that first, and then we are going to fill this up with this data. So in order to build that design, we have to work with the CSS class. So out there, what am I going to do? Let's go to our profile page now. Now out here I'm going to pass a class. Let me call it custom model, and we are going to define it in our global.scss, because out there everything works if I want to define anything globally. So I want to define it globally, so I'll do it out here. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to define the height of this model. So we can use dash height property, which is a CSS property which is already available for the models by default. You can access that up, and I'm going to give 95% height. Along with that, I want to pass the border radius also to that. Let me pass 20 pixels to the top left and top right. Now in the bottom left and bottom right, I don't want to pass anything, so I'll give 0 and make it important. Now once that is done, let's check it out first, and then we will work on the other parts. Now if I click on this, let's see what happens. It is still taking the full width. Why is that so? Because out here I have to pass model wrapper, because we are accessing the model wrapper, that is the main class, and if we don't pass that up, it won't work. Alright, let's check it again. Now I'll click on it again, and now you can see it is showing up nicely, right? Well, we have the border radius also, and there is a height also of 95%. We have 5% of space. But now if you check it properly, we have some spacing out here also, which I don't want. So for that, what am I going to pass? Let me pass margin top of 10%, and let's make it important so that it can override anything that is out there by default. So now if I click on it, let's check it out. Now you see we have margin top of 10%, because earlier we could not see this part. Now we are able to see that. So we have designed this part, and now it's time to work with the inner data. So let's fill that up, and for filling that up we have to go to our option model or component, we would say, because normal component we declare in the HTML, but for a model we declare in the TypeScript. So that is the main thing, and let's work out with that. Now out here, let me work with the HTML first. So in the HTML part, at first I am going to design this thing, and for that I will be using a button. So let's do it. So out here I'm going to declare an iron button. Fill will be clear and span to full, and I'll pass a class ion text center. Everything will be placed at this center. Now within that, what am I going to pass? Well, I'll have a div. So you must be thinking why I'm declaring a div, because we need to design that part up. So out here I'm going to declare a class called, let's call it drawer pull. Alright. Now out here, what am I going to do? Well, let's design that up, and then we will see what exactly I'm trying to do out here. So let's go to our SCSS, and out here I'll work with the design of it. So let's call this class drawer pull, and within that I'm going to first pass the background color to that, which will be light gray, and then I'm going to pass the height for that. Let's pass 4 pixels, then the width to be little more, pass 50 pixels, and then at last we need to pass the border radius, and let's pass 5 pixel to that. Alright, so let's check the design, how it looks like. Okay, now if I click on this button again, let's see what design comes up. Now you see this button is coming up, and what we are going to pass out here in this button, well, I'm going to dismiss the model if somebody clicks on that. Even on iOS, I want to show you one more thing. As of now, if you just click on it, it won't go. Well, that will work in Android phones, but for iOS you have the option to swipe it down. So how cool it looks. I really like that design actually. So in this manner you can just dismiss that up. Alright, and if you click on it again, it will come up. So how cool it is, right? I'm loving it. So now let's pass a click event to that, and in the click event I need to dismiss the model. But in order to dismiss the model, I have to call model controller out here also in the constructor in order to access that up. So let me pass public model ctrl model controller. Fine. This is imported now. So there is one more way of doing that up. Well, there are always lot many ways to do. In order to make it more optimized, you can have a service for that. Let's call it global service or util service. And out there you can have the model controller defined for creating also and for dismissing also. So if you have that out here, you can simply call the service out here, and then you can just dismiss it directly, and the functionality will be passed from the service itself. So that is another way how you can learn it up. If you want, just let me know in the comment section. I will make a separate video on services again properly with some other features, not with this feature. Alright, and I'll include this part also if needed. So out here I'm going to pass model ctrl dot dismiss. That's it. And if I want to pass any data out here, then we can do that up, and we can get that data in our profile page also. So let me just show you quickly how this can be implemented out here if I want to pass any data. So in the dismiss, we can pass any type of data out here, whether it is an object, array, or a string, or any kind of data. We can pass it in this. Alright, it will take one argument, as you can see out here, data, and few more things also. So if you want to access that up, then out here you can have a constant which is an object called data. Within that we have data, and out here I'm going to use await model dot on will dismiss. So this function I'm going to use. You can even use, I think, on did dismiss also, but this is fine. Now if there is any data, well, you can work with that data, whatever you want to do. You can return the data or you can do anything you want, fine. So I'll leave that to you, what you want to do out there. So this is how you can do it. I'll simply comment it up because right now I'm not using it. So once that is done, let's see whether it gets dismissed or not. So now if I click on this button again, let's check it, what happens. This is coming up, and if I click on this, it's gone, right? I didn't swipe to the bottom, but it is still gone, right? So that is very interesting. So it is getting dismissed properly. Now what next we need to do? We need to pass the data out here, right? And for that, what am I going to do? At first, let's go to our TypeScript for option component, and out here I'm going to declare an array called options. So you can get it in my source code which I have already shared. So out here I have declared all the labels which we are having in this, right, along with the icons which I'm going to pass out here. So it's very easy to do it in this manner. Dynamically we can pass it up. And if you want to redirect to some particular links, you can just pass it out here in the redirect. So that is why this redirect I have passed it out if you want to do it in that manner. So but I'm not using it out here as of now. If you want, you can use it up. Now let's go to our option component HTML, and out here what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to work with the ion content. Within that I'm going to have an ion list, and in that ion list I'm going to have an ion item. And to this ion item, at first I'm going to pass a class ion margin bottom because I want little margin at the bottom, and then I'm going to loop it up with the array that I have already declared. So ng4 let item of options in this manner, and within this ion item, what am I going to do? I'm going to have an ion icon to which I'm going to pass the color to be dark, and the slot will be start because I want it to be on the extreme left, and then I'm also going to pass the dynamic name out here which will be item.icon in this manner. Alright, now once I have passed the icon, and then I'm going to work with the ion label. Now in this ion label I am simply going to pass item dot label, and that's it. So once that is done, we will check our design in the model once it get rendered. Alright, it is rendered. Now I'll click on this button again, and you can see this pop-up is coming up. All the values are present out here which were present in the array, and we have the nice icons out here which is looking really lovely. And if I swipe down, it is working. If I click on it, it is getting dismissed. Now let's try it in our Android phone. Let me just reload it up once. Alright, it is reloaded. Now if I click on this button again, well, it is coming up, right? But the only difference is we have to pass a class to our ion header that we do not need any borders, so ion no border, right? So out here if I click on the backdrop, it will get dismissed automatically. Let me open it up again. Now the border is gone, and if I click on it, it is getting dismissed. If I click on the backdrop, it is getting dismissed. I won't be able to swipe it. It won't work out here because that is only available for the iOS. So this is working very nicely in our Android and iOS both devices. It is looking absolutely lovely, I would say, and I'm really liking it a lot. So we have successfully implemented our bottom drawer, or you can say bottom sheet, or even you can say pop-up model, whatever you say. We have successfully implemented this design in our application of Instagram clone. So with this, I'll wrap up this lecture here. If you like the video, let me know by leaving a comment below, and do like the video if you really like it. Do share with your friends, do all the rituals which were needed, and let's take this channel to a greater heights by reaching 1K pretty early, right? So see you guys in the next lecture which will be coming really soon. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned to the channel. Thank you very much.